All right. Good morning. Today, what we're going to do is talk about a fact of life that anybody can succeed at work, right? Shout out to Ratatouille. Ratatouille says anybody can cook, right? I'm a believer of that. For me personally, I'm not really good at stuff, but I'm a great follower of instructions, right? So if you got instructions on how to do something, I can just follow the instructions. Right? I accepted that about myself a couple of decades ago, maybe, right? That I may not be naturally good at stuff, but I am a great follower of instructions. And those instructions are what kind of, inspire me to be creative. So today we're just going to have a quick discussion on three proven principles that produce success in the workplace, right? As always, you can download that power statement. You can download that life goals tracker on the website, www.carterhughesknowledgeinstitute.com. For me personally, it took me 35 years until I found out about these principles, right? And I kind of stumbled onto them. I kind of stumbled onto them through like some crafty reverse engineering type of thing, for me, I got really focused on one of the principles, right? Just one of them is what I decided, okay, I'm gonna focus on this before I knew, the principles. And with just focusing on that one and like committing to it, success started coming pretty fast for me. And that eventually kind of revealed those other two. And there were a couple people, one person was in like the mid 20s, the other one kind of in the late 20s that I was working with at the time. These two people were also using all three of the principles. And these two people, within like 6 months of me leaving, they got six-figure offers as well. They accepted them as well. So that kind of let me know, man, these principles, it's more so about the principles that these people are doing these three things. And then when I step back, it's like when you look at any organization, the people at the top are normally doing these three things, right? When you look at any industry, the high performers are normally doing these three things, right? Anybody who consistently uses these three principles will undoubtedly reap the rewards. For me personally, I grew my revenue by 4 times. I grew my net worth by about 11 times over over a 3 year period, right? It was great. I can't lie. But what I did, all I done though, I increased my value. That's what increased the compensation, right? Like I made myself more valuable in any industry, right? Because I showed that I can do this, this, and this. Right? I showed it repeatedly to the point where we could rely on him to do these things, right? Like at any organization, that's what they're looking for. Someone they can close their eyes and rely on. You have to be a reliable asset. When you become a reliable asset, you kind of get to write your own ticket out here. Uh, and it's fun, right? It's incredible. But it wasn't always like this for me. Keep in mind, I was 35 years old, hadn't bumped into the principles yet, was making $35,000 a year, right? $1,000 for every year of my existence. So I wasn't learning much in life. I didn't really know much. I didn't feel much different than I do now. But I didn't, there's a lot more that I know now, a lot more that I understand, a lot more that I see now that I just didn't know back then. And obviously, I wasn't seeking the information either, right? Like, we get what we're looking for. Uh, I was looking for, entertainment news, I was pretty good at that. Hip hop news, right? Like, what's going on in sports and all those things. And the only thing that changed for me was that I started using the principles, and it was simple, but I thought it wasn't, right? For those 3.5 decades, I thought becoming successful was something that's complicated, right? It's gonna be tough for me to do all that. Foolish thinking. Luckily for me, I found those principles though, and I'm here to share them with you today. And I'm going to continue to share them because anybody can use them and become successful. The trick to all this, though, is that this stuff is easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. So I understand 90% of people are not going to do this stuff. regardless how many times you tell them, regardless how many times you show them, right? They're just not going to do it. Some people have decided that they're not going to be successful in their life, right? Other people may do it, but not for them. They say no thank you, right? And they'll tell you, man, this stuff never work, it can't work, it can't. If that's what you believe, then, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are correct. Your life is an individual experience. That's the reality of it, right? There's folks out here who will tell you, man, life is incredible from day one to the last day. And there are folks that will tell you life is terrible from day one to the last day, right? Choice is yours, man. But it largely comes down to which principles are you going to choose to employ. We're all working on somebody's plan, right? You come here as a baby, whoever you grew up around is who kind of tells you what life is about. Is that true? If it is to you, I guess it is. But to everybody, no. If you go a country over, nobody cares about the things that we care about over here, right? So it's all about what you decide that's important. Within this space of work, these three principles are what's important. Number one, know your job well enough to explain it to a child, right? And that just means know your job well enough to explain it in simple terms. Know whether you're providing a product, service, or both. Know who your target audience is for that product or service or both. And then know your organization's mission. Your organization specifically, how are they going to accomplish that mission, right? Number two, have good relationships with all coworkers. And this just means act like you're a part of a team. You're a part of a team trying to accomplish a mission, right? That's all we're saying. Act like it. Act like a team member trying to accomplish a mission. Nothing in life is really personal unless you want it to be, right? We're all here. We all have families. We all have bills to pay. Let's work together to accomplish the mission. Let me find out, okay, what are the strengths and weaknesses of my team members? How do they help me? How do I help them, right? That's number two, good relationships with all coworkers. Number three, be willing and eager to speak publicly about your job, right? Be willing to lead the training. Be willing to conduct the presentation. Be willing to bring your ideas on how to improve things, right? Improve processes, improve the products. How do you improve anything? You make it more effective or you make it more efficient, right? Make it more effective and or make it more efficient. That's how you improve anything. So use those three principles, measure your results 6 months to a year from now. At least every 6 months or every quarter, you need to measure your progress. Make sure you're moving in the direction that you say you want to move. But step number one is to have the courage to decide, this is what I want. If you can tell me what you want, I can tell you how to get it, no problem. The tricky point I find for most people is deciding on exactly what they want. And you can decide multiple times. Hey, I decide on this one thing. I want to make this amount of money by this date. Once I do this, it's over for me. I can't. You could always change your goals, right? Your goals, your plans, they are your buddies. They're not a burden. It's fascinating to me that some people choose to burden themselves throughout their entire life. You don't have to do that, right? The human existence is a very unique one. We know we're alive. We know we're going to die soon. What are you going to do within that time that you have? Simple, right? The way I see it, everybody around me doesn't know much more about this life thing than I do. That's the reality. It's all about choosing. I accept that I have an existence here and I get to choose how am I going to live this thing out. For me personally, travel the world helping people, using my words. That's what I chose. Nobody instructed me to do that. Nobody instructs me to do this. That's what I choose to do. Because words, these specific, particular principles, concepts, ideas have changed my life. Exposed me to a life I didn't think was possible when I was a kid. Now I know everything's possible, right? Now the mindset is totally different. It's like, I'm on the boat, feet kicked up. But when I was a kid, I didn't expect this stuff. And I'm not confused on why I have it. It's because I do the principles. Simple, right? When I first got into this thing, it was about making my bed every day, making sure that I made my bed every day, just to kind of use that as the kind of the sign that my day is officially started, right? And am I disciplined enough to make my bed every day? Took some practice, but yeah, I got it down. That was important, signifying that my day is started here, right? Like having the discipline to do that without being instructed to do so. That's what a lot of life comes down to. If you really want it, it's out there for you. If you really want it, there's millions of thousands of people out here to help you. Millions of people out here to help you if you're willing to ask, if you're willing to plan and go for it, right? This house that I'm in now, it's about an acre plus of land, right? So when I first got it, I didn't have a riding lawnmower. So I'm out there pushing, right? It's a lot of grass. But I get like 2/3 of the way done. And my neighbor comes over with his riding lawnmower, like, hey man, you could just use this, right? Boom, boom, boom. I don't think he comes over unless he see me pushing it though, right? Pushing 2/3 of an acre with a push lawnmower. Man, it's tough on your back. Uh, but I think what he saw was, I'm trying to help myself. I know that this is a terrible situation I'm in, but I'm going to try to help myself and fight my way out of it. People see you helping yourself, they have no problem helping you. There's more than enough help out there, right? No, more than enough people out there willing to help you. Are you willing to help yourself? Because it kind of all starts with deciding on what is your plan. Oh man, we over 10 minutes. My bad. Use the 3 principles. Hey, if you're honest with yourself, you'll see them. All the successful people are using them. The American Workforce Trinity, right? Audiobook available on audible.com. We have the other course as well, the Microlearning course, American Workforce Trinity, available on the website, right? Use the tools. Use the tools. And as always, continue to explore the most fascinating thing about your life. You. All right? Sounds cool, also true. Download the power statement and the life goals tracker today. Decide who you are, decide where you're going. Have a great one.